Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Brothers. I am your host, Will Brown. Thank you so much for tuning into our show. Well, today I have a few guys with me that I consider my brothers. You know, Sunday Fun Day is not a fun day without kicking it off with brunch. So I have over here Mr. Xavier Leonard. Hey Xavier, how's it going?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Now Xavier is a radio personality, a psychologist, as well as a philanthropist. And I have to my right over here Mr. Rhett Micheal. Hey Rhett.
Hey, how are you?
How's the suspenders working out for you?
They're growing well.
And he actually tied this bow tie, folks. I'm telling you, I saw with my own eyes.
I'm impressed.
And so Rhett is a travel enthusiast. He's also an animal advocate as well as a political junkie, which gets on everybody's nerves.
Not me. Love it.
And over here to my left, we have Mr. Brandon Lee Roth. He's a
Yes,
triple
yes.
threat, excuse me. I'm stepping on my own tongue. So Brandon is an actor, writer, and photographer. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, how are you?
You also been known to sling a couple of cocktails, right?
You know, every once in a while I make a drink or two.
And I can't forget, last but not least, we have Ramon Alvarado. He is also known as Rob the Realist.
Hola,
He is a
papi.
social behavior scientist. Okay, a
That's
scientist?
right.
That's
Yes.
what's up. And also a
Yes.
yogi. So for those people who don't know what yogi is, can you give them a brief description?
Oh, it just means that I practice yoga on a regular basis, and I try to bring that energy into every element of my life, my friendships, my work, what have you.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, you know, you guys, I've told you a million times before, I am friends with a couple, and they've been together 10 years, and they're kind of my relationship goal. So I was in San Francisco, seeing them not too long ago. They're now engaged. They've adopted 2 beautiful children, so it's in their second year. They've had the kids. And I just sat back at awe and just watched their whole dynamic, how it was working, the feeding the kids, the talking, the ordering, the whole thing. We're at a restaurant having lunch. And I was like, how'd you guys do it? And it's like, it's a lot of hard work. So I said, so my next question was obviously, what am I doing wrong? And they said, I don't know, Will, tell me what's going on. So I sat there with them and I started to go over every relationship that they know of. And what I came to the conclusion was that I'm a leaver, meaning that I'm going to put up with it. Like if it's time to go, I grab my pumps or my high pumps, my hot tops. I grab the old tank top and I pack a bag. You can have the furniture, you can have whatever you want, the dishes. I'll start over, but I will leave. I do not stay. And sometimes I feel bad because I feel like maybe I'm not putting in the work I should. And then I talk to people who've been together 4 years. And then, like I said, you know, it's so crazy to me. It's like, I talked to a friend, they've been in a relationship for 4 years. And I was like, so tell me about the relationship. How was year 1? Horrible. We both cheated. I say, so I'm gonna take year 1 from you. Is that okay? It's like, yeah. I said, so how was year 3? It's like it got a little rough. There's a lot of fighting. I said rough as in I had like heated arguments, rough as in physical fighting. I was like, wow. So I'm gonna take the year from you too. He said, so how was year 3? And he was like, oh, it was great. We're finally on the same page. The cheating was out of our system. We were tired of getting to jail. We were tired of calling the police. So year 3 was good. And I was like, okay. So tell me about year 4. Oh, we just kind of stuck together because we had a lease. I was like, so your 4-year relationship was only healthy for 1 year? Now, I can be called a leaver. I'll take that all day. But I'm not going to be with somebody 4 years, especially not at this age, and it's not working. Because I feel like being with them is not allowing me to be with the person I'm supposed to be with. Now, Xavier, everyone know you've been engaged. You have been married. What is the secret and what is, I guess, the issue that stopped the longevity of your relationship?
Well, I discovered some things that basically broke the foundation of the relationship. And I think that that's the key thing in the beginning is that you have to establish that you have core values and principles that you believe in with each other. And so at first, you know, he was very much into the church and I was considering myself spiritual. So I thought, oh, okay, that's great. You know, he had goals in terms of he had a good job. Actually had 2 jobs at the time. So I felt like, oh, this is somebody that I could work with. But as it got deeper into the relationship and then after the marriage, I discovered that the book, if you go deeper below the surface, those things weren't there. So yet, even though he was religious and wanted to go to church every Sunday, he wasn't practicing those principles in his behavior.
So you're saying, in essence, that the lack of longevity in gay relationships is because a lot of people don't establish
whether they have I think a lot of it has to do with a couple of factors, because you were talking about leaving, and I think it has to do with why you get together in the first place.
Okay.
And realize, and this is something I talk about on my radio show a lot, is that people need to understand how significant their early relationships that they viewed in their life growing up impacts who they choose in their adulthood. So for example, if your parents had an abusive relationship, then sometimes you tend to repeat that same pattern in your life, and you draw those same type of people into your life. Or if, like you said, leaving, if your mother or your father always constantly threatened to leave, then you may have ingrained that in your mind that that's something that you do when things get uncomfortable.
Okay. Wow. So, Rhett, we all know you very well, and I remember talking to you at one point. You were telling me like your longest relationship has been 4 months. So, could you expand a little bit on that? Why only 4 months, or is 4 months a negative or positive thing to you? Like, could you?
Sure. My longest relationship with a man was for 4 months. My personal story, I came out a little later than some people come out, especially by today's standards. And I also lived in a really small town. So while the dating pool was really small there, and I didn't find anyone, that I was really interested in, but then I've moved to a bigger city in the last few years, and I feel like that's, changed the dynamic for me as far as that goes.
So now you're in a bigger city, and that's some more options, obviously. So are you in a place right now that you want a long-term relationship, or are you happy with the short, fun ones?
No, I'm absolutely open to a long-term relationship at this point. I feel like I needed to, sow some oats. I had, I didn't get to express myself as a gay kid growing up, or a gay person, especially being in a small town. Even though I was out, it was just a little farm town that people were kind of backwards. So yeah, I'm definitely open now. I'm open to seeing where it goes. And
okay, let's throw it over to Ramon, aka Rod the Realist.
Yes.
So Rod,
Ask away.
now I know you were in a relationship for 2.5 years, and then one for 4 years. Is it a goal to be in something much longer? And why did your relationships end? Like, what was the dynamic? Why do you think you couldn't have 10 years? Let's say, in your case, 7.5? 7 years. Or give me an example of a relationship that ended too quickly or didn't end quick enough.
I don't attach significance to longevity in relationships.
Okay.
Personally, I just don't. I think that some relationships...
So let me stop you right there. Do you think the whole gay community feels that way? Is it not important to us to be like, oh, I've been with this person for 20 years and I watched them grow and I had their back and they had my back. So do you feel like that's an issue why longevity in gay relationships are limited?
I don't think that it's an issue if you don't make it into one. I think that if that is somebody's goal and that is their cultural reference, then great. Like, be with that person for 40 years, 50 years, and I admire that. But I think we also need to give props and respect to the relationships that grow us, even if they only last 6 months. Right. We don't stay with something just because we're supposed to. Mm-hmm. I think we should stay with something based on how organic it is or not.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's what's
that's
up.
so good.
And Brandon, you were saying like you were in a 4-year relationship. 4 seems to be the magic number around the table. You were in a 4-year relationship. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Why did it end, and why did it last 4 years?
Well, I was young at the time, and he was older, which is good for me. I needed to learn stability and some things like that, and I definitely learned a lot from it. So I don't hate the situation or anything like that. But we're talking about what we want in a relationship, or like a lot of times I find we talk about what we want in a partner. I want this, I want that, I want this. And like this year I'm really focusing on being the partner that I want to have. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we forget that like we are the other half to that.
Exactly.
And the people that like I'm on this journey right now, the people that I want in my life are the people that I'm going to find when I'm on my right path. You know what I mean? While I'm finding myself.
Being the partner that you want is going to be your secret to having a long-lasting relationship? So
yes, yeah.
It seems to be limited in our community.
Because right now, what I've been doing is going for something that like I want, or would like to have, or like is, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they're stable, or they have this, or they have that. I want that in my life. I'm going to be with them because I aspire to be that way too. And instead of doing that now, I think it's about coming together. I was talking earlier to you about this, about energies. I'm so into energy lately, and I need to feed myself, and that takes a lot of energy. And the next person that comes into my life that I'm going to be giving half my energy to better be giving me that other half to fill the half that I'm giving. Right. It's about equal energies.
And
that's a good way to wrap that up. And then you're going to go over. So pretty much you're saying is that you got to make sure you guys on the same level, on the same page, with the same energy for it to last long. Mm-hmm. Okay, what were you saying?
I was going to go back to Rob's point about longevity and trying to equate that with the heterosexual norm. You have to realize that heterosexuals have had centuries of being in open relationships.
Open to the public, you mean?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So for us as LGBT folk, this is all new. This is relatively new when you look at it in terms of the history. And so a long-term
relationship aspect is not
in terms of open relationship and being able to have open expression, to be able to talk about the struggles that you do. If we're only been like seeing each other on the side, just having sex, meeting up in a certain spot for all these years, that's not a real relationship. That's not an open relationship. And so you have to learn how to have a relationship. We've had to learn that as a community, and that takes time. So I don't think, that's why I agree with him that we can put those same expectations on us as we would do with heterosexuals.
So you're saying a long-term relationship is not that prominent because we haven't learned how to have one yet, the gay community. Your experience.
We haven't had this experience. We haven't had the role models. We haven't had the experience. And so that's why, we talk about that in the community all the time, that they say, a 6 month or a year gay relationship equates to like 7, a 7 to a straight, because that's what it is.
Well, and the narrative in society has always been, if you look at the Disney princess and the prince, and from a young age, we're like, do you have a girlfriend? And you get these cues of what you're supposed to be, and that being, gay or being liking the same sex is wrong. So that really influences how we date and how we act.
And the energies between a guy and a girl are different than a guy and a guy. And I think like not having an example like of how that works is really where we're falling short, which is why like the energy thing is so important to me. Like I feel like when you're in a same-sex relationship, it's so important to be on the same level. When I grew up, like most of us had mom and dad, and the dad worked really hard and the mom stayed home or whatever, that dynamic, but we really can't have that as you can, but it's different.
And I want to go to Ra's point. I'm sorry to just but Ra, you brought up the organic nature of a relationship and how important that is, and I could not agree more. It's like, if you don't make it to this number, then what you did or your feelings involved, everything are just negated. What does it matter?
Sure.
Absolutely. So I think
worthless.
having a short-term relationship, it's the people involved. How did they feel?
Well, I think for me, I'm sorry, Robert.
Oh, it's okay.
For me, I think not being from LA and living here now, I think the short-term relationship situation that's going on here that is very prominent is just like, I'm gonna have fun with you today and have fun with him tomorrow and have fun with him Wednesday and have fun with him. Like, it's so many options and people are too self-involved and I think a little selfish out here to really actually put in the work of a long-term relationship. It's not necessarily that their partner is not adequate enough or not bringing enough to the table to be someone that they can grow with and have longevity with. It's just like they want their cake and eat it too. And they want your cake and they want his cake and they want his banana split and they want my banana split. And it's like, and and if I was a different person than I am, if I was in that skin and I'm not, and I was in that body and in that space, I would probably want to nibble on everybody's cake too. Right. So, but for me, the goal has always been long term, one person. But I don't think that is really celebrated here in LA. Right. Because sometimes this city can come across as fun. Right. Nothing too serious, nothing too heavy. But Rod, you had a point earlier you wanted to make about.
No, I was just gonna say that I think that we have a lot of battles to wage in terms of succeeding in relationships. I think that men in general, biologically, we're hardwired to sow seed.
Exactly.
So we need to elevate the conversation, elevate ourselves in order to facilitate longevity in relationships, if that's what you want. I'm not anti-relationship. I think that relationships statistically have shown to improve lifespan, lower cholesterol, give you a happier quality of life. So they are important. But I don't think that we should diminish the fact that when you're young and you go through those relationships in which there is no success, in which we are abused, in which we compromise our ethics, our values, those relationships, hopefully, if you're in tune, lead you to the relationship in which you should be participating in that will last a long time and give you longevity.
So you're pretty much saying that, and maybe I'm minimalize it or, not really, I'm categorizing, but I feel like you're coming across as that those short-term relationships are learning tools to get you prepared and get you ready for that long-term relationship.
And I want to go back to his point, because I was going to say the same thing, is that we have to understand that males and females are distinctly different, and that he's so correct. Historically, men have been the ones to sow the seeds, and that was how history was developed and how we expanded. And so
women were property.
So now and they were grown to make the nest. They were grown to make, and that's why you see lesbians tend to be in much more long-term relationships than gay men. So we can't underestimate that dynamic, because now you have two men who are known to do that, and so it's much more challenging for us to kind of outgrow that, or to understand that that's an issue for us,
right?
And I think so that's key to understand, to communicate with one another, to say, okay, this is hard for us as men. This is hard for us, right. So let's talk
understanding
about it and
from
be real about
the top of the relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And what Rhett said earlier, I think, is another huge important point, is that as a society, from a very, very early age, boys are given subtle and not so subtle messages to stop showing affection towards one another.
Yes.
And so how that has such a huge impact on us as gay men, because if we were told, basically given the message to stop showing affection towards each other, then how do we now as adults be able to express emotion with another man?
And you know what's really deep though, is this suppression of the feminine is part of what gives us homophobia. It's what gives us femophobia. It's what helps us to hate ourselves. I know for me personally, in my trajectory, I resisted being gay. I did not want to be gay. My father was a boxer, a merchant marine. It's all about being tough, fighting. That went against everything that I was feeling.
So that's one of the dynamics that kind of prohibits you from having a long-term relationship. So Rich, you had a point you were going to make?
Yeah, I just want to make a few quick points. So in addition to the heteronormative narrative we have as a society, gay people was to the total opposite, were jailed, were beaten. So if you did show any affection to this other partner, just even 40, 50 years ago, you were beat with a baseball bat for fun. And in some parts of the world, you're still killed. Yeah. And so how do you have a healthy long-term relationship in Uganda? How do you have a healthy long-term relationship, gay relationship in Jamaica? These places where they're really, really hard on gay people. Right.
I just kind of want to stick to LA though. I don't want to be in those places. I'm just playing.
You're still trying to find somebody.
Yeah.
No matter where it is.
Let's do a 50-mile radius.
Right.
I mean, they're gonna be. I'm gonna pray for them, but let's do a 50-mile radius.
We get it. You're trying to find a boo.
Right.
Am I? Or have I found them?
Call 1-866. Flash the number.
Kids are here to play today.
Yeah, well, we have unique problems in urban core settings.
I agree. Well, pretty much, I'm coming to place, and I guess I'll have to say Mr. Xavier is right on some levels. I am not just trying to find a boo. I am trying to find a long-term life partner. And, excuse me?
The boo.
The boo.
Not a
exactly.
boo. You're trying to find the boo.
The last and the only long-term life partner. So if...
And even after going through an engagement that didn't go through to a marriage, and having a marriage that went through a divorce, I'm at the place now where I'm ready to love again and to find.
So you trying to find a boo too? Let's get it right.
Of course.
I think we all just say we're trying to find a boo.
I mean, to want love is intrinsic to human nature. We're not complete. We don't live and do well and thrive in isolation.
Right.
We need each other. We are a tribal species. So yeah, a relationship is critical.
All right. So I want to say to everybody watching, thank you again for watching and tuning in to us. We're going to talk about more how we're going to find our boo. We're going to talk about
But can we also get some of this food too? Because I'm kind of hungry.
I mean,
Hello.
you know it's LA. I mean, we can
touch
nibble on the
thing.
food and the vegetables. We really ain't gonna eat no food.
At
can
least
pass
he
those
didn't- at least he
waffles.
didn't just give us
You
tic
speak
tac.
for yourself.
Well, it all goes into finding the boo. So
Can we
Cheers
cheers
to
to
the boo.
that?
yeah, we definitely can cheers to
Alright.
find the boo.
Salud.
And I just wanted to give a really good thank you again to everybody tuning in to Brunch with Brothers. We had an
Salud.
amazing time. Tune in next time. It's going to be a great show. I'm going to be with these guys again. They make me laugh and they look good and they're funny. And I don't know.
And we love to talk.
Yeah, I noticed that everybody do. But I do need another refill before we go away. So once again, thank you folks for tuning in. It's been an amazing experience. And however you come across your relationship, long or short term, enjoy it. Make sure it's healthy and make sure you have the time of your life. And when it's over, celebrate it and move on to something better and greater. All right, cheers to you guys. See you next time on Brunch with Brothers. All right.
Can you put some of the champagne in the freezer?
I second that.